Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the season review. And welcome back to part 10 of our Zero to Hero series with Forest Green. I've just hit my face on a microphone, where today, as I mentioned, it's the season review, and we're going to be doing the summer transfers as we prepare for life in League One. If you're wondering why my microphone is at a weird angle as well, in between episodes, my boom arm just decided to collapse, and now this is the only way I can get it close to my face until further notice. So you're just going to have to miss some of my beautiful face. Today, though, it's not about my beautiful face. It is about the season review with Forest Green Rovers. And it was a bit of a mixed bag. A good season, a little bit of a poor ending. But let's have a look through what we have done this season. Lots of new arrivals, a busy season in the transfer market. We brought, I think, all of these lads in. I don't think any were brought in before we got here, because we got here pretty early in the transfer window. Fagan Walcott came in from Norwich on a free. I say he came from Norwich. I'm pretty sure he was released, and that's why we got him. But obviously, it's going to just show his previous club. He'd spent years out on loan. We got him on a free. He's come over and got, and now it says from Preston. It's really confusing. Either way, he played 39 starting appearances, 5 off the bench, got himself a couple of goals and a 7.2 free rating. We've then got Oliver Iro coming in from Spurs for £175,000, making 42 appearances and 5 from the bench, getting himself 33 goals and a 7.06 rating. I think he was possibly one of the best signings so far of this series. He might remain the best signing so far of this series for the rest of the series. He was hyper important either way. Charlie Wiggett came in from Colchester for £400,000. He made 28 appearances, got a 7.05. Aaron Pickles, who is apparently signing of the season, coming in from Accrington at 20 years old for £450,000 as well. Didn't make quite as many appearances, but I think that probably changes next season. We've then got my favourite signing, Vangelis from Crawley for £400,000. Spotted him when I was still at Taunton, or maybe at Grimsby. I think it was when I was still at Taunton. Either way, made quite a lot of appearances, got himself 12 goals. I think that makes him our second highest scorer this season after Oliver Iro. Not quite as good a rating as I'd expect playing out of midfield in that position. Maybe it was due to the assists missing. Maybe he needs a few more assists. Liam Hawkins came in on loan from West Ham. We then brought in Baker Boati from Brighton for £130,000 in January. Callum McDonald from Stockport for £195,000. He was all important at left back. Matt Jay on a free, formerly of Exeter as well. Made 15 starting appearances, 23 off the bench, 4 goals, 5 assists. He was a very, very good utility player. I think I said that in the last episode as well. Finley McDonald, a 19-year-old winger from Tranmere for £325,000. I think he will come good next season. We've got Hayden Hackney. Dexter Methven was on loan. Jason Steele, our backup goalkeeper, who only made the 1 appearance. Fabio Tavares from Coventry for £40,000. Possibly one of the worst signings I've ever made. And then Dermot Lee, actually, he might be one of the worst signings I've ever made. Made 3 appearances, 1 from the bench. I can't remember why he made appearance from the bench, but either way, only 1 in the league, 3 conceded, and got himself a 6 rating. Very solid work there. On the transfers outside, all of these players have left. There's nobody too notable apart from maybe Ben Knight, who we brought in and then left again. We've had some younger players leave the club as well. You can have a quick look through. Alex Kirk, probably, you know, the most biggest notable biggest sell leaving the club. Not someone I particularly wanted to let leave, but wasn't getting any game time. He wanted to go, so he headed over to Tranmere. Bit annoying. We could really do it with him next season. Loans out. We've had some players out on loans, so no one's performed spectacularly, really. In time of the season, then, it is a season to remember of jubilant success for the Rovers, who exceeded expectations from the outset and were eventually promoted. That doesn't really tell the whole story. I mean, we finished 3rd. It was a couple of episodes ago. We were 1st with a game in hand. We then, if we look down here, we'll be able to see them. We had the losses against Crawley Town and Carlisle, and then we lost against Swindon, Woking and Mansfield. It was near the end of the season. We only had 3 losses on the board. We then lost a further 5 in our last, 10 games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we lost 5 in our last 11 games, meaning we finished some way off the pace of Swindon in first place, which is very, very annoying. I don't like Swindon. I will say that a massive amount as well. FA Cup, we got knocked out in the 3rd round by Reading, but we did generate a little bit of income there. Carabao Cup, we got knocked out in the 1st round by Yeovil. That was less exciting. And the Papa John's Trophy, we got knocked out by Crystal Palace. Under 20 runs in the 2nd round, I believe it was. It was the 2nd round. So just the league really we're focused on, and some moments to remember there. As we can see, I think that is the moment to remember, and it was the first match we ever played with Forest Green, a 5-0 win against Stevenage, with Oliver Iro getting 4 on his debut. Still the best debut I've ever seen. He also got goal of the season. Oh no, Jones got goal of the season against Stevenage. That was a very, very good first match and a big sign of things to come then. Club reputation wise, we've actually increased it from regional to national. This will help us to attract a higher caliber of player to the club, help our support base grow, and greatly improve our commercial revenue. That is some fantastic stuff. In terms of sponsorship, we've increased it very slightly, but that's more or less the same as last year. We've lost a little bit of broadcast revenue, which is interesting, but we've gained on corporate and hospitality, on competition prize money, and on matchday commercial and retail, so all lovely, lovely stuff. We've also sold 2,207 shirts this season. Kanate, McGlynn, Tavares, Iro, and Baker Boati, the top 5 shirt sellers. This is how we lined up this season. Then McGee in goal, McDonald, Wiggett, Fagan, Walcott, and Robertson as our back 4, with Jones, Hackney, and Vangelis in midfield. Hackney and Vangelis are the wrong way round, but never mind. Kanate out on the left, McDonald out on the right, and Iro up front. That is definitely our first choice 11 for this season. So Football Manager getting that one right there. We didn't win any awards despite getting promoted. Not one award did we win this season. On the club awards though, Fans Player of the Season goes to Fagan Walcott, as does Young Player of the Season. Signing of the Season, as we already saw, Aaron Pickles. We've then got Top Goal Scorer Oliver Iro, which comes as a little surprise. Kanate with the most assists with 15. Iro also gets most player of the matches with 9, and the highest average rating goes to Fagan Walcott with 7.2. Competition awards, nothing in there, and some records broken as well. Take with a pinch of salt. Obviously, that is only the records since the start of this save, but it's Oliver Iro with the most overall goals, the most goals by a player in a match, the most goals by a player in a league match. Kanate is the most assists by a player in assists in a season with his 15. Iro also gets the most player of the match awards, most league appearances by a player, Luke McGee with his 256 appearances for the club. Is he still our first choice goalkeeper next season? I guess we kind of find that out in this episode. Vangelis is our highest transfer fee paid with 405,000. I swear there was players that cost more than that, but never mind. And youngest goal scorer, Leon Hawkins, who was on loan at 18 years old and 29 days. Sky Sports are saying that's a remarkable season for us, and we are deservedly going up. And the spell of football at the start of the season was the making of Forest Green. I mean, it definitely wasn't the spell of football at the end of the season. We also haven't seen this dynamic timeline for a little bit, because obviously we got fired by Grimsby, so we didn't see it. But there's all of our Taunton sort of adventure. How's Asante doing? Can I just check Enoch Asante? I mean, he's not playing that much, really. I mean, he made 32 appearances and 11 goals there for Asante Kotoko out in Ghana, which is quite nice for him. He's still knocking in some goals. Can we give him a scout? We can give him a scout. Let's give Enoch Asante a scout. How good would that be to be able to bring this big man back to England, but this time to Forest Green Rovers? That would actually be lush. We've then got our 100 games there, where we lost 4-1 against Southend when we were at Taunton still. Lots of other taunts and stuff, just lots and lots of taunts and stuff. We got hired as the new manager of Grimsby. We did some stuff. We got fired as the manager of Grimsby and then hired as the manager of Forest Green. We've set a new transfer record. We've signed lots and lots and lots of players for the future. McGee, obviously, we just saw, got his most appearances ever for the club award. We played our 200th game in charge, which we lost 3-1 against Woking. We don't have very good, time in our matches that are big milestones for us, but we have managed to get promoted, and we've brought in a goal scorer who is the highest ever goal scorer in a season. So I think that is quite nice. We've also added some players to the best 11. That's a horrible formation though, and whoever was playing that deserves to be shot. In terms of supporter profile update, then we've lost some core supporters, or we've lost a percentage of core supporters, but we've gained fair weather corporate and casual fans, quite a lot of casual fans in fact, and social media we've gained another 4,000 followers, which is lovely. We've got 2,000 supporters that are season ticket holders, but no one on the waiting list. We'd quite like to get some people on the waiting list, please. I also haven't seen what the club expectation is going to be for next season. So let's go have a quick look at that then, shall we? We're not going to be able to negotiate it. I don't know why I bother. So they want us to develop players using the club's youth system. Interesting. Play defensively solid football. That might be a little bit of an issue. But okay, fair enough. Direct football, again, might be a little bit of an issue. And counter-attacking football. I hate when they bring these in and it's like, you're winning and you're playing a certain way. Yeah, we don't want you to play like that anymore. But we're going to leave it. They want us to grow the club's reputation. We have managed that already this season. They want us to expand the stadium. Informational objectives. So I'm guessing this is stuff that they are planning and we don't actually get measured for. But they want to expand the stadium. We've added this, so we feel the club should be showing ambition by looking to expand the stadium. We're filling it 89% full. Fair enough. Maximum 1-year contracts for players over the age of 34. That is not a problem at all. And they want us to work towards becoming an established League One team. Straight off the bat. So you're not sort of worried about us avoiding relegation or anything like that. It's work towards becoming an established League One team. We've also, I never actually mentioned this in an episode, but we are improving the youth facilities, which is quite nice because I'd like to bring in some players. You want us to develop players using the club's youth system. It would help if any of them were any good. Dynamics wise, that's all that stuff. Nothing too interesting going on there. The team are now gone for their break, and I guess what we should do is look at the squad planner. This does not work. I just want to say I hate the squad planner because I literally, just before we started this video, I sat and took all of these guys off just before we started the video, so I'd be able to show you guys, and they've just added themselves all back in. So I guess we do this old school and we do this. Let's have a look. So goalkeepers wise, at the moment we've got Jason Steele, Luke McGee, Dermot Mee. All fairly solid. Dermot Mee has the most potential. We just don't really trust him. He could be a good League One player. He's the only one of those three that could be a League One player. So really we should be playing him. But equally, as I mentioned, we don't trust him. On the left of the defence, we've got McDonald, Gibbons and Wallace. McDonald is going to be the only one that's left here because both of these players are going to be leaving in the summer at the end of their contract. Centrally, we're going to have Pickles, Wiggett and Fagan Walcott. Everyone else is leaving or on loan. Out on the right, much the same story. Gibbons is going. Daniel Fisher is here, but he's realistically not going to be playing. Leon Hawkins is on loan, so he'll be leaving. So the only right back we've got is Sean Robertson, which could be a little bit of a problem. In midfield, defensive midfielders, we've kind of got Callum Jones that can play there and normally does. And I think, although he's Sky Bet League 2 level, I think he remains there, to be honest, unless we find an absolutely fantastic defensive midfielder, in which case we'll bring them in. It's very much what this season's going to be. We've got Hackney that can play there. In midfield itself, if we go and look there and we just look centrally, Vangelis, Kanate, Callum Jones can play there. Liam Burt, but he's going to be leaving, I think, as well. Hayden Hackney, James Jones, but he's another one that leaves. Matt J probably leaves. Metvan is on loan, so he leaves. And then as we look a little bit further forward towards our attacking midfielders, on the left, we've got Kanate, who can play there. Tavares, but that's kind of it. On the right side, we've then got, again, Kanate, but realistically, it's Sean Robertson, Finley McDonald, and Baker Boeti. And then up front as attackers, we've got Vangelis, who can play there, and it's suddenly shot up in star rating. When did you gain that extra half a star? You didn't have that before, but he can play as a striker, which is interesting. Oliver Iro as well. He can play it on the left, so maybe we have a look at what we can do with that. We've then got Tavares, Joe McGlynn, who is desperate to leave the club, so I don't think he's here. Finney McDonald is never going to play there. Marriott is going to be leaving. I mean, look at this man. Look at him. He's literally scored 5 goals in 2 seasons. And if we look at that, it just gets worse the more you read down. The last time he scored double figures was at Peterborough all the way back in 2017-2018 season. He's just not very good, which is a shame because I played with him in a previous version of FM when he was at Derby, and I really enjoyed it. Finances-wise then, £774,000 available to spend in a transfer budget. We've also got that much wage budget. Let's just acknowledge our committed spending is only £47,000. So we've got about another, £34,000 that we can spend on the wages. We do need to make a lot of improvements. We have got a couple of players already coming in. The first of them, they are very much potential for the future rather than players for now. That was just me spending whatever remaining transfer budget we had from last season. So Grosios, definitely saying that wrong, currently at Kings Lynn. He's been having a pretty good time there. If we have a look at his report, National League standard player, potential League One standard player. We have paid something for him. Where can I see that? We've paid £40,000 for him. And then we've also got Manuel Bigoto, who featured in a recent video. We had a look at him. He's been playing at Woking and scored 24 goals this season. And although, again, if we have a look at his analyst report, League 2 with potential to be League 1, I think he might be an ideal left-hand-sided player. It allows us to play Kanate in the centre, maybe as a backup over there. Either way, he's going to be a decent player. We've paid £125,000 with a potential £50,000 more to be added to that on the way out. We haven't got anything happening at the moment, but those 2 players coming in on the 9th of June. We'll have a proper look at them when they get here. But for now, I guess the plan is go away, try and get some transfers done. I'll come back as things happen. It might be a long window trying to get up there, getting a team ready for League One, I think, because we are a little bit thin on the ground in terms of players. So we have arrived on the 9th of June, the day the transfer window opens, and we have already made some signings for Forest Green Rovers. As we can see here, there are 4 new players coming in. We have seen a couple of them already. Manuel Bigoto, I'd assume that would be, we already had a look at, but now we can have a proper look at him. If we have a look at his coach report, he is only League 2 standard at the moment, but he does have the potential to be League 1 standard. He's very driven in pursuit of his goals. He has an English second nationality. He has got some more negative points as well, like having a problem with injuries. But more important, if you have a look at his history last season with Woking down in League 2 with us, then we can see he scored 24 goals in 46 appearances. He was actually the 3rd highest scorer in that league, with Iro being 2nd. So it is really good to get him in. He's got fantastic determination as well. I hadn't noticed that before. So I think he could end up actually being our primary left winger over here, maybe. Obviously, he can cover up front as well. He can cover on the right. He can cover that entire front 3 that we've been playing with. So I'm very, very happy to have him here. He cost us the 125,000 to bring him in. We obviously also bought in, we saw Grosios. cannot say his name, Greek right winger or central attacking midfielder, depending where he wants to play. He's come over from Kings Lynn for £40,000. He's been loaned straight back out as part of the deal back to Kings Lynn for this season. I don't think he's ready for our team yet. You can see he's north-south standard, but he is a good one for the future. So hopefully, if nothing else, we can make a little bit of money on him. We then have brought in a new goalkeeper in the form of Sol Bryan, an English 25-year-old keeper, playing at Port Vale for the last couple of seasons, formerly of Middlesbrough. He didn't have the best season last season with Port Vale, although I think if we have a look at them, 17th in the Sky Bet League 2. Let's just have a look a second. Can we see where they finished? So I think that is where they currently are, because it hasn't ticked over yet. So they are 17th at the moment, 11th the season before. And I think that kind of is indicated in what he did. The season before, 38 conceded in 42 games. Last season, 61 conceded. I'm hoping that that is down to his defenders in front of him, because globally he looks pretty decent. His report is showing up as a good League One player and the potential to be a good Championship player. So he could carry us all the way to the league above should we get there. And he is a vast improvement on Jason Steele-McGee and Dermot Mee as well. So we could potentially now get rid of one of those goalkeepers if Luke McGee wanted to go, or Jason Steele or Dermot Lee. Maybe we send Dermot Mee out on loan this season. In fact, why I'm saying that, maybe that is something we do now and see if we can get him out on loan to get him a little bit of playing time. But Sol Bryan come in. I think he'll probably be our first choice goalkeeper. If we compare him, let's have a look at him against Luke McGee. Obviously, Sol Bryan over here in green, Luke McGee in blue. So his shot stopping is slightly worse. He has better mentals and he has better aerial ability as well. So they both have their positives. We'll kind of see which one we end up playing with. And then finally, for those of you who are long-term viewers of this series, Vontae Daly-Campbell. Now, I didn't really want to bring him in because he is from Grimsby, and I'm not a massive fan of Grimsby for fairly obvious reasons. I think it might have even been me who purchased him. I cannot remember. You guys can go back and have a look. It might have been me that did it for 250,000. We've brought him in for 230,000. He was showing up a little bit better than this on our scouting report. But leading League 2, so almost ready to play in League 1, with a potential to be a good Championship player. He's got fantastic pace down that right-hand side as well, and he can, if we absolutely need him to, cover at centre-back as well. I think makes him a pretty good signing. On the outside, actually, before we do that, let's just welcome all these signings, and then we'll have a quick look at the players that have gone out. There is just the one, I believe, at the moment. That is Joe McGlynn, gone over to Yeovil. Yeovil obviously got promoted with us, so he is going to be playing in the same league as us, but he's never really played, has he, since we've been here. 17 games and 2 goals. The season before that, 40 games, only 9 goals. He wasn't very good as a striker. He was unlikely to be getting in front of Iro or Tavares or Vangelis, realistically. I don't think so. He's gone over to Yeovil. We received 250,000 for him. It's a nice little bit of business. I think at the moment we're still looking to try and bring players in. We have found some cool little players as well. I'm hoping we can get this guy in. He is wanted by a couple of other teams, but no one I think that's going to be too much of an issue for us. We've offered him a transfer, made a bid for him, 135,000 at the moment. Look at this guy, current ability and potential ability wise, he looks really, really good. He's not necessarily the most prolific striker, but he could play out on the left. He could play up front. We could move Iro out there. I think he's worth having a look at 19 years old, with that potential that he's got to improve significantly. I don't know if that means Championship. That could mean Premier League. It could be our scouting ports completely wrong. We'll kind of assess that if and when we get him in. The other thing that has happened as well, not that I can see where to have a look at it, expand the stadium. That's actually in progress at the moment. Board aren't judging us on that objective. It is happening at the moment to expand the stadium. That's going to be finished in about 5 months time or so, and we have just improved our youth facilities as well, which should help a little bit with fulfilling the objective of using our youth team. For now, though, we just need to get back out there, get through a few more weeks, have a look at maybe if some more players start coming up. Oh, Jonathan Lecco. I've used that boy before. I think he's probably a little bit old for this team now, because at that star rating at 27 years old, probably never going to be quite good enough. But there are players starting to appear as we head towards the 30th of June. And obviously contracts ending as well. So hopefully we can bring in some more players. And we have our new striker, left winger, central attacking midfield. We've got a new player. I don't really know where he's playing yet, but I couldn't resist bringing him in. A Czech 19-year-old Konechny. I don't really know how you say his name either. We're going to say Konechny, I think. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his first name, but 19 years old. We can see he is currently, as we saw a minute ago, rated as a Sky Bet League One standard player who could still improve, and has English second nationality, having played at Stockport for a little bit as well. He's been doing quite well over in the Czech Republic. We've paid... It says £600,000. We haven't paid that much for him. Some of that's in installments. Some of it's on the Never Never. I think we've paid about 175,000 up front. It might mean, do we look at potentially changing formation? I'm not sure, because Kanate wants to play through the centre as well. We've also got Iro who can play out there. We've got a few players coming in now, and I don't really know exactly where we're going to be playing them all. However, if we do look at our tactics, what we've been training, we obviously played with this all of last season, but we do train this as well. And if we pick this without restriction from it as the best 11, it puts Vangelis in there, Kanati, Iro over there, Tavares still up front. I don't know what my assistant manager has been smoking, but that is not going to happen. I think realistically, if you were going to play this, you look at putting new boy Konechny in there. Konechny, I'm going to have to get his name right at some point. I think you put Iro over there, maybe Kanate. In that case, you put Vangelis in there. Or actually, maybe Vangelis there, and you play Kanate next to him. And then over on this side, you'd be looking at playing our other new boy, who I can't see, which makes me think he's gone down into the under-21s. He has. Manuel Bigotto, you need to move to the senior squad, please and thank you. So you'd end up playing him over here, I think. Not as an inverted winger. He's a lot better as an inside forward. So you'd go inside forward there on attack. We've then got Finney McDonald on the other side. Hawkins still remains there, but he won't be here because they won't loan him to us for another season, which is very, very annoying. Sol Bryan there. It's beginning to look a little bit better. I mean, we can see where we're struggling at the moment is probably left back. I mean, if we're putting this in, and again, we go pick without restriction, we go with our apparent best 11, then I'd say we were struggling up front. We're struggling for the front three and at left back. There's still stuff going on. We've still got transfers potentially coming in left, right and centre. We've also got the normal thing of lots and lots of players agreeing terms with us and then go into bigger clubs, which is a thing we have every single transfer window. We're obviously only on the 18th of June now. We can see we're having a look at players. So Steve Sedon, I'm guessing, might come in from Bristol City. He looks fairly capable. I mean, nothing too outstanding, but he'd be a nice bit of cover over there, or an improvement on McDonald. And then we'd have two left backs, which would be a good start. And he's played reasonably well for Bristol City in the League One. He was at Stoke before that in the Championship, formerly of Birmingham. He's played for a bunch of teams. I think he would do all right at this level. And as we just saw, he wasn't ridiculously expensive either. So we go deal with that one. Hopefully we get him in. Hopefully we get some more in. We'll probably play through, I'd imagine, to the 30th of June now, when contracts start ending and we have a bit of a better idea of who we can get in and who is definitely going to be leaving the club this summer. Be back in a minute. Well, today's the day, ladies and gentlemen. It is the day where all the contracts end, and we can see from our point of view, there's a lot of players that have just left the club. Jordan Moore-Taylor, Jack Marriott, Kieran Wallace, Matt J, James Jones, James Gibbon, Liam Burt, Dylan Charlton. Who the heck is Dylan Charlton? One of our youth players, I assume. We've also got all of these youth players that have just left the club as well, all now available on free transfers. We've also got a lot of players who go out of contract next season, and we've got some youth players come back, 3 of them instantly being released. Murphy Bennett, I don't think we particularly want, and Daniel Fisher could probably go out on loan again. On the opposite side of the coin, we have made a couple more transfers. If we just have a look at those, they're going to be in the previous season now, aren't they? That's very, very annoying. The first one to come in is Ismail Kabaya, who comes in, I believe it was from Arsenal. It was from Arsenal for £180,000 to be our main right winger this season. We can see he is already pretty decent and a League One standard player who could improve a lot. He's only 20 years old as well, and capped at under 19 level for the Netherlands. So that's always decent. He's got bags and bags of pace on him. Hopefully he's a good signing this season, and it probably means we're completely covered now over at right winger. And then the other player we brought in, you guys saw me playing around with a minute ago, is Steve Sedon, who came in from Bristol City, ended up costing us 79,000. He's not fantastic. Once again, comes in as a good Sky Bet League One player though, so if he can play decent for us this season and just offer us a little bit of defensive security, then I think we'll be quite happy with that. At the moment, this is what the team would look like, I believe, at the start of the season. We've got Sol Bryan in goal, Sedon at left back, Pickles, Fagan Walcott and Daley Campbell as our new look back four. We've then got Vangelis and Kanate in midfield. Vangelis as a ball-winning midfielder, I have a little bit of concern there, but it is his second best position, so I don't know. Potentially Kanate, we know he plays well as a Mazzala. We've then got Bigotto over on the left wing. We've got new boy Konichi, we're going to call him Konichi, I think, and then Kabia over on the right with Iro up front. I think there's still some improvements that can be made to this. I'd like a better centre-back. I'd probably like, realistically, a better ball-winning midfielder as well. Or as much as I love Vangelis, I don't think he's the player to play in there. And if we don't have him on the field, he can play in either of these positions or cover for them as well. So we're getting there. 4-2-3-1, I think, is kind of just because we've got Kenichi in here as well. I'm going to say his name differently every time. Kanate, as I mentioned, actually wants to play there as an advanced playmaker as well. So I think that's probably what we're likely to go with. We do have this problem. Kanate's work permit is due to expire when his contract is up. So his contract expires at the end of the season. We did offer him a new contract, but we couldn't actually give it to him because he couldn't get a new permit, which is a little bit concerning. I mean, you can probably see here, we're expecting it to be a formality. Yeah, we don't look like we're going to be able to give Kanate a new contract when his ends, purely because of the fact that we can't get him a work permit. And in turn, it then begs the question, do we focus on having him in the team this season, or do we focus on maybe getting the likes of Vangelis and Bigotto up to scratch, so when Kanate does inevitably have to leave the club because he can't get a work permit, we are at least covered. What I am waiting for now, of course, is all the contracts in the leagues above to end as well, and hopefully we can get a couple more players in. We have got one more in just as cover. Again, another one we'll probably recognise, Okadina, formerly of Grimsby. He was pretty decent there. He comes in as a League One player who could improve slightly. We've got him on a free just at the end of his contract to become a fourth centre-back for us now, giving us Fagan Walcott, Pickles, Okadina and Charlie Wiggett in that position. So that is what he is there for. Now we just need to have a look and see if we can get some more players in. We'll get rid of Murphy Bennett. Thank you very much. If someone wants to pay all his wages, I am more than happy with that. Right, hopefully we're going to get a notification of some contracts that have ended in a second. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived on the 8th of August, which is the first day of the season in Sky Bet League One. Not a lot has happened in terms of transfers since you last saw me just over an in-game month ago. We have brought in this young lad, Danny Smith, a 19-year-old English left-back. He's on loan with us for the season from, I believe it's from Millwall. It is from Millwall. He was on loan at Wrexham in League 2 last season. He did all right there. He'll do all right here, I think, as well. Attribute rise. He's got a decent amount of pace, agility, which I kind of like from my left and right backs to be able to bomb up and down the pitch. He will kind of play as first choice left back. Second choice left back. I'm not too sure yet. We've obviously got Steve Sedon in as well that we saw previously, and then we have brought in one other defender, which is Connor Matheson, Irish 27-year-old centre back, 3-star current ability, 3.5-star potential, with the potential to be a good championship player. He cost us £200,000 from Salford. He literally came over to Salford on a free last season in League One, played one season, and they've got £200,000 for him, which is quite nice, I'm sure. Formerly of Liverpool and on loan at Swindon, but we won't hold that against him. But more importantly than all of that, I think, let's have a look at our tactic for the season. I think this is probably our first choice lineup as it stands. I don't think it's the finished article. We have obviously got a little bit of the transfer window open yet. We still got to get through August. I think we do still try and bring in some loanees, some players to bolster the ranks a little bit, but at the moment it would be Sol Bryan in goal. We've then got a back four of Smith, Matheson, Fagan, Walcott and Daly Campbell. In midfield, it would be Jones and Vangelis, I think, at the moment. Kanate on the left. We've then got Konieczny. I've no idea how to say this guy's name. I am recording this a little bit in advance, but do let me know down in the comments below if you've any idea how we say his name. I'm going to say it some way different every single time I say it, but for now it's going to be Konieczny, I think. And then we got Kabaya over on the right with Iro remaining up front. Iro is technically the worst player in this squad, so I don't think it's that bad a squad at the moment. As we can see, Daly Campbell is suspended for this first match of the season, which is a shame, because wait till you see who it is we're playing. Yep, first game back in League One. Daly Campbell returns to his old club, as do we. Obviously, we were sacked by Grimsby, not last season, technically the season before. We've played a full season with Forest Green Rovers, got them promoted into the same league, and our first match in League One is going to be against our old club Grimsby, and I'd really like to win that one and show them what it is they could have had. This could have been them that got promotion this season, and we could have got them into the Championship. Instead, they're going to have to face us on day one, and hopefully that's going to be a win for us. If we have a look at the season preview as well, we are predicted by the media to finish 12th, so exactly bang smack in the middle of mid-table. I think we'd be quite happy with that. If we have a look at the club vision now, which seems to have changed again, it's now avoid relegation from Sky Bet League One. It's not even try to avoid relegation. It is avoid it. It is avoid at all costs relegation for the Sky Bet League One. Be competitive in the other competitions, which should be doable, I think. And obviously, we're still planning to expand the stadium. But I would take 12th place. I would definitely take 12th place. Absolutely. 100%. Apparently, we're already on course to becoming an established League One team, which is our 29-30 objective. But we haven't even started yet, so I don't really know how that's happened. Never mind, the board does what the board does. We're going to go away now. We've done the transfers. Tomorrow we get to find out whether or not the transfers were any good or not. If you have enjoyed today's episode, of course, please do drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel, and thank you very much for watching.